Hey, welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff. We are going to have an amazing show today. We're going to have the co host back tomorrow. We're going to get the dynamic duo back together tomorrow, tonight, today, this morning, wherever you're tuning in from. People tune in from all over the world. We got this amazing global audience here on the chain. But today, this morning, this afternoon, tonight, or this evening, crypto spotlight, Ripple showcases digital asset custody in action with three institutional use cases that I want to go over. They have a new website rollout. It might not be new as in today. It might have been 6 months ago. But I think it's going to be really impressive to go through the site, the Ripple site, look into some of the flash payments, the custody, all the things that are going on within Ripple, some use cases. We're going to watch some really great videos with the companies that are engaging with that project. And we're going to do a deeper dive into Flare today. I want to deep dive Flare as they step up more markets that are, choosing to power the future of XRP yield. I want to break down the Flare FAssets, the data connector, time series Oracle, tools that are built for institutional adoption and real world utility, because that's really what it's all about. We have to look at institution adoption and real world utility. Then we're going to get into the politics and the culture of things because Trump is just crushing the drug runner terrorists. We're going to see how leadership actually can define outcomes and why are the rates of autism skyrocketing, and nobody is really asking the question why. And there's tremendous amount of burnout, there's chaos, there's Democrats and there's leftists that are just crazies running all over the world, running around this country. Florida versus Canada, which one do you think is better? Crypto politics and the cultures collide. No FOMO tricks, no YouTube fanboy fools, just truth served as raw and unfiltered. That is the theme of today. So we're going to deep dive and look into this one. Got the Flare community on here with us. I'm excited about today, and let's get into it. Let us get this thing started. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go some hardcore. Here we go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. So, everyone, give a quick shout out where you're tuning in from. Doesn't matter if you're over on X or if you are on YouTube. Give a quick shout out. Go ahead and share. Give a quick like. Share this on your social media, and a big shout out to all those that listen in on the podcast as well. We missed the last couple episodes. I apologize for that. For some reason, we weren't recording on the back end. Well, we weren't. The software wasn't. So went to update it, have the fix, made sure everything is working for today so we can get the podcast up as soon as we launch the show. Go to onthechain.io if you want to go back and review if you've missed anything. If you said, hey, I've missed the show, I want to go back and watch it, I want to listen to it, or I want to go back and read all the different articles that they covered and then some. Register, go to onthechain.io, drop in your email address, go ahead and register for that. We don't spam email, but what you will do is get an email after every single show that has all these great things. Get a list of every article we reviewed, all the different video links, all sorts of stuff like that. So go ahead and go to onthechain.io and check that one out. And then let's see, we're going to deep dive. We're going to dive into Ripple. Then we're going to get into Flare. And if you guys want to support the show, you can also go to badassyetiscoffee.com, badassyetiscoffee.com. Get yourself some Obsidian Bold, because I love the Obsidian Bold, but there's also Noir Symphony and a couple others that are there. And they're featured in the song as well, because the Obsidian Bold runs through the veins of these Yetis. That's how they stay fired up. So, all right, let's get this going. Let's go to going to go and cover, let's talk about these three different use cases that, well, I want to go more. I'm going to start off with the digital asset custody in action over here with Ripple. Hang on. Got too many tabs open, trying to figure out where everything's at. We got a killer song for you guys today as well. Here we go. How's everybody doing today? Good weekend? Getting ready to enjoy the beautiful weather outside, whether it's hot and humid, or whatever it might be. So if you guys are streaming in from the UK, I got some stuff for you guys today. And that coffee is badass. So here we go. So Ripple. Now, if you go to, and I like this because let me see if I can open up a new tab here. There we go. I want to go through Ripple and Flare as two of the bigger use cases that are using the XRPL. Obviously, everybody here knows who both of them are. Everybody here knows what XRP is. But what I really want to focus in today is the financial infrastructure, financial institutions, custody, and how this impacts everyday use case, and how this really impacts the future and growth of our economies. And I think that this is, a component that doesn't necessarily get missed, but we have to give a lot of emphasis to what's actually transpiring right now. And it's not just about investing in the asset, the FOMO, and the Riddlers and all of those things, from a serious growth perspective, as we're starting to see, change going from, the living room computer screen to real world utility. And now we're starting to see the bridge of where real world utility is kicking into high gear. It's gaining recognition on large institutional and government levels with big institution plays, and we have to watch the big institution plays. So it's not just the fluffy Ethereum bunnies or whatever that was called, back in the day. We've had a lot of fun with the NFTs, and obviously, we love our badass Yeti NFTs, but that's just scratching the surface also of what an NFT will be able to do, or what an NFT will be able to represent, as we move forward in the future. And really, the future isn't so far off because the future is actually happening right now. But here, Ripple, this is right on their main site. And I love how over the years that we've covered the Ripple and other crypto plays, that they're gaining momentum, not just from a technical perspective, but they're gaining momentum also from a branding perspective. Like, it's very clear, what they do. And there was a lot of confusion before, a lot of words being thrown around, a lot of different project concepts. And as these projects and even the crypto space at large trying to find its space, trying to find its place in the economy, they start fine tuning verbiage. So here, modernize your financial infrastructure with Ripple. I think it's very clear what we're emphasizing here. Ripple's payment, custody, and stablecoin solution empower financial institutions to integrate blockchain and digital asset into their business in a simple, secure, compliant way, all in one place. So again, very, very clear messaging. It's not like what it used to be when it would break down all the different components of it and you're trying to explain the technology, and then how does that all fit into your business? How does that fit into a growth perspective? And now from this statement alone, payments, custody, stablecoin. And what do those things do? Well, it's going to empower to allow you to integrate blockchain and digital asset in your business. Now it's a matter of, okay, why do I want blockchain and digital asset to power my business? What exactly is that going to represent? On the political stage, we see a lot of discussion, a lot of emphasis on stablecoin and the integration of stablecoin into our economy. And stablecoin also means streamlined payment, streamlined money movement. It also means real-time access to your money, real-time access to your stock portfolio. And I was just having a conversation about this with my wife yesterday as she was moving some things around. And she said, it's all a sham, because when you sell your stock, you don't get instant settlement. And even if you do move it, you don't gain necessarily access to everything. And it depends on the platform, depends on, the quantity that you're selling and all of that. But if you're making these movements, they give you limited access, and then it's broken down over days. So if you're not set up 100% the right way within the exchange, within the platform, then you're handcuffed. Because imagine if everybody, decided to run on to do a run on whatever the platform is. Let's say it was a Wells Fargo, or it was a JP Morgan, or the Fidelity, or what have you. And you go to any one of these platforms, you're like, okay, I want my money. Or I'm selling my portfolio and I want my money, and I want it today. I don't want it 5 days from now. I don't want it 7 days from now. I don't want it 3 days from now. I don't want it tomorrow. I want to sell, and I want my portfolio today. I want every last penny that's in your bank, and I want it in my new bank. I want a full custody of my money. Now, if everyone decided to run on the bank, then they don't have the money. They don't have access to it, and it's kind of a sham. So now imagine we can transition into a stable coin environment where we know that stable coin is always going to be readily accessible and available to us 24/7. Not business hours, not business days, not weak ass, employees that we have to rely on, that, have to run out for lunch, or, they want to leave at 5 or 5:30, or they don't want to get in and start working until 9 a.m. No, if I'm up at 4 a.m. and I want to transact, I'm transacting at 4 a.m. If I'm up at 12 o'clock midnight, I want to transact. I want to transact and move my money. I want to invest. I want to, stack up my day. That is the power of the stable coin. And that's the power that's being brought to the financial institution 24/7. That's really what it should be. It's our money. It's not the banker's money. You're custodying it, but why should I be handcuffed because you decide that your hours are only, 9 to 5? I mean, that's absurd. And then in other countries, in the US at least, we have ready access online. In many countries, you still don't necessarily have good quality access to online banking, and it becomes a disaster, to try to transact all these different online solutions. So then you have to go into the branch. Now, if you have to go in the branch, you have to have an appointment. If you have to have an appointment, you might have to wait days, or you have to stand in lines, and it becomes extremely, extremely convoluted to do business. So from this perspective, why do we want blockchain and digital asset? We want transparency, we want trust lines, and we want seamless transaction and flow, movement of money, and full liquidity. Obviously, it's a very, clear perspective from a B2B perspective, from a B2C perspective. It becomes really, really key. So here, payments, custody, stablecoin. It's happening with Ripple, and it's interesting to see that transference, that or growth cycle that Ripple's gone through also, because of what used to be a lot about XRPL, used to be about XRP, and there was all these different components built into it, and now it's not, right? Now we're talking about payments to asset tokenization, right? From instant payments to asset tokenization, and then here we go. But let's look in the heading over here. So we have payments, custody, stablecoin. You don't see anything about other digital assets. Everything's about the stablecoin, and I think everyone has come to an agreement that if we're going to be transacting institution, business to business, that having the stablecoin that's built on a stable blockchain platform, but the stablecoin is also tied coin to dollar, where it maintains valuation, no fluctuation based on FOMO or FUD in the market. So imagine if we're trading stock, right? Think about, XRP. We want XRP to be a payment solution. We want Bitcoin to be a payment solution. But the problem is that we have daily, hourly, per minute, per week fluctuations in the valuation of that currency, of that digital asset currency. How do you then have proper trade for value if you continuously have fluctuation in your asset? So imagine that, we decided that trade was going to be done with Microsoft shares. So now we're going to create an entire environment where we can use Microsoft shares to buy goods. Now imagine the market fluctuation, market changes every single day, and we're using Microsoft shares. Today the value is 120, let's say. Tomorrow the value is 100. So we just lost, a 20% valuation on our share. Now, how do we then go and buy goods when we have massive fluctuation in currency? And it's the same thing with Bitcoin. It's the same thing with XRP. Ethereum, doesn't matter. All digital asset fall into the same bucket, that we're going to have FOMO, FUD, fluctuation in the currency valuation. So the only solution to solve that is stablecoin, and stablecoin dollar for dollar. Now, we don't want, obviously we all know, because we've gone through Tether, we've gone through USDC, but we need something that's more institution, industrial backed, right? So we get to like an RLUSD. So Ripple, real smart, the movement that they made going over to the stable coin. They're not the only players, which is critical. So if you have the circle, you have USDC, you can have the RLUSD, you can have the PayPal. There'll probably be other, big providers of stablecoin out there. Makes more competition, gives more option. There's lots and lots of utility potential across the chain, which is really important. Now, then we focus in on, again, what we were saying before: instant payment, asset tokenization, which I think we haven't even seen the beginning of that. And I talked a little bit about that on the show previously. Imagine being able to tokenize whatever that fixed asset is. You want to have, share ownership in the Mona Lisa, so they decide they're going to tokenize that, and you can have a fractional ownership in that. I mean, the potential is just mind-boggling. So you have a gallery collection of art, you get to own a share of that. That just changed the whole, fundamental of how we operate within collection type goods. But then real estate asset, whether it's residential property or commercial property, if it's business, I mean, it's amazing, what can happen with the tokenization. But I think it's also then about the streamlined, the transparency, and then also the ready access to movement of that asset. So again, if Tesla decided to tokenize all their share, and I'm owning a part of Tesla through tokenized share asset instead of the stock, I have to wait after hours, that I have a little bit of a period of time to sell, and I have before hours a little bit. There's a gap where you can't do anything. You can try to sell, you can put your order in, but you have to wait. Now imagine you wake up 1 o'clock in the morning and like, shit, I want to sell my Tesla. And you go in and the market's open. It's 24/7 because it's a tokenized asset now. And that's it. I sell it. I'm done. I have my money. I move on. I buy something else. That's the type of world that we all want to live in. The potential and power of asset tokenization. That's, man. And if Ripple can get behind it, that's great. So to me, it's more about how exciting is the world that we're living in and the technology that's being developed. Ripple just happens to be one that's on the forefront. Is this going to impact XRP in any way? I don't know. If they're moving over to stablecoin, they might be using the XRPL. We need more and more and more projects like this that are integrating into and finding a use case of the crypto asset, similar to Ethereum, right? Ethereum growth potential, Ethereum's being burned every time. We have all these different ERC20 tokens and projects that are built in and around. So if it's built with the XRPL and utilizing XRP as a burn token, or somehow figuring out the solution to bring XRP into it, will be really, really impressive. And again, we're just starting to see the growth of this space. There's so much, really so much to leverage, across the board. And it's so much more than, just looking at the FOMO and the small currency movement, because everything is incremental growth. And we went from, infant stage to toddler stage, and we're going through the kind of can't move, can't barely crawl. Now the toddlers are up and running around, bumping into things. Then now the toddler's getting a little bit older, going into kindergarten, getting ready, going to first grade, and still super excited, interested about all the different things that are around it and learning. But at least the the child is walking and running and has balance. And that's kind of where I feel we're at in the crypto space, but still super, observant about all the potential, all these different options, all these things to learn, and trying to figure out how to piece it all together. That's kind of where we're at. We have like these massive components and getting ready to assemble everything. And it's going to be exciting. And so now, if we go over to, let me pull, a couple of these videos, and you guys can obviously go on their website and watch these too. But I think it's interesting, to kind of see these and talk through and kind of workshop. But this is Travelex Bank. And if we look at what they're saying, 24/7, 365 access to liquidity. That's crazy, right? That's what we're talking about. The first domestic exchange bank to be approved by Central Bank of Brazil, Travelex Bank provides foreign exchange and payment services for customers worldwide. So let me just throw this video up and let's just watch this real quick. Hang on one second. Here we go.
Meu nome é João Manuel Campanelli Freitas, eu trabalho para o grupo Travelex no Brasil. O grupo Travelex é um dos maiores grupos de câmbio ao redor do mundo, e no Brasil ele tem duas companhias. Uma companhia que faz a compra e a venda de papel moeda em lojas no shopping center, são mais de 100 lojas, e o banco que atende às operações comerciais, propiciando aos clientes formas de liquidações rápidas. Nosso maior desafio hoje é disponibilizar formas de pagamentos instantâneos. Então, a gente tem procurado criar formas e processos para que pagamentos sejam feitos cada vez mais rápidos ao redor do mundo.
It's all about the speed. It's all about access. And, everybody is been struggling with all these different components. And you're right. I'm going to pull this down. This was in Portuguese. I'll put the next one up. So anyone listening to the podcast, like, I don't speak Portuguese. I can't read the subtitles that are being put up there. If you're watching on your phone, you probably can't see the subtitles anyhow. So all right, let's move on to the next one. Each one of these 3 different companies that Ripple kind of highlights, each one talking about how they bring it into the solution, what it means for their company as a player globally. So this one is Instarem. Instarem is leveraging Ripple payments to streamline internal treasury operations for Instarem and their global SME customers. So here, Instarem is a key player in finance, leading transformative remittance on an advanced global payment built platform for simplicity, scale, and speed. It's a lot of words. Maybe they should simplify all of those words to make it easier to scale. But Instarem, the payment arm of Neon, began leveraging Ripple back in 2018. That's very cool. So let's play this one. This is Yogesh Sangal, head of Instarem. So here we go. Let's see what we got with this guy.
It gives us that extra liquidity for us to accelerate our business and really not bother or worry about trying to move money across accounts. Hi, my name is Yogesh. I am the head of Instarem. Instarem is all about keeping money simple. We are present in more than 40 countries through our mothership Neon, and we allow you to kind of send money to more than 400 countries across the world. The Ripple partnership started more than 5 years ago. There is massive synergy between what Ripple does and what Neon and Instarem are trying to bring to our customers. Ripple uses Neon's infrastructure to pay out in various markets. Apart from that, we use Ripple's treasury solutions to manage liquidity for ourselves. And we also offer those treasury solutions to our customers, especially our SME customers. If you look at one of the big things for any growing fintech, the percentage of growth is massive. Therefore, we are looking at any way that we could cover our funding gaps. These treasury solutions allow you to expand what you would have normally done. You look at that and look at where our customers are across 40 different geographies and all parts of the world where we serve. Being 24/7 is almost expected. So Ripple fits very nicely into that whole notion. If you look at speed, I think it's one of the strengths that Ripple brings to the table, and something that that we really appreciate, because I think for us, as you know, our name is Instarem, so we want everything to be done in the instant. That's where Ripple comes in. They provide that instantaneous nature to us. As we started our journey and we were moving together as partners, one of the things that we found very useful and insightful was that you could go to the Ripple team and have a conversation around your challenges.
So I think it's interesting, each one of these companies, they're all looking for a very similar solution. They're going to implement it a little bit differently. They're in different parts of the world, which is also important, from, India, through Asia, through Europe to South America, each one of them looking for a similar type solution. But the problem is the same, regardless of where you are in the world. The problem is always instant access, streamlined access, full transparent access, and low cost effective access. That's the problem. And Ripple succinctly brought that right from the beginning. But the problem hasn't gone away. The problem is still a reality. We still haven't reached kind of that pinnacle moment where the world is switching and we're starting to see financial institutions migrating to a flash payment type system or an instant payment type system. We haven't reached that point yet, but now we're seeing momentum from a legality perspective, getting regulatory clarity, so these companies, providers can operate seamlessly, through regulation, so it can be very acceptable, very accepted, very expected. The U.S. market, I think, has been the biggest block, the biggest hurdle on a global scale, because if the US doesn't get in, the rest of the world can't get in. The rest of the world can play around with it, but from a real momentum perspective, if the US doesn't have buy-in, it doesn't matter, right? Then you move on to the next thing. The US still the largest, one of the largest, not the largest player on a global scale, probably the most significant player still to date. From a transactional perspective, all countries and regions are important. The U.S. is still the biggest player, and again, probably the most critical to make movements like this. U.S. gets all in, but you know what? If the U.S. is all in and all these other providers are not in, then it also doesn't matter. Then you're playing catch up and trying to fight and force. So in the meantime, you're getting all these players trying to figure it out. Much easier to get into smaller market and get them on board with it, let them play around with it, let them experience the technology. And as the US kind of goes through its process to try to figure things out, then time's on our side, because all these different regions are getting it. They are all buying in. They all have the regulatory clarity. And now we're waiting on the US to get on board with it. The fortunate thing is it's not like, hey, we waited till the last moment to try to get the US on board. Screw that. The US battle has been waged, for the past decade, where we're starting to see, and now we see, the big lawsuits and the cases, and now we have the right administration, the right political environment to make it happen. Ripple had been on the forefront, still on the forefront in developing and pushing for a clear path forward. So let's look at this last one. These guys are over in Australia, and I think this would be nice to see. So let's throw this one up.
Flash Payments are a holistic digital payments business. We utilize blockchain and traditional solutions for international and domestic payments. We help financial institutions and overseas remitters get funds into and out of Australia. Our primary customers are financial institutions and overseas remitters. They're looking for a cost-effective way of getting and fast way of getting payments into and out of Australia. Flash Payments have been working with Ripple since 2017. We were actually the first Ripple partner in Australia. And that partnership has evolved immensely over that time as the product has evolved. Flash Payments have always been focused on improving settlement times and operational efficiencies. Ripple Payment Solutions has helped accelerate our business, not only through offering, obviously, those faster payment times and cost savings to our customers, but in a big way through the introductions that Ripple have also provided large financial institutions and remitters overseas who are the core clients that we're after. And they've also been very understanding, very helpful in terms of helping us.
Yeah, I like seeing this. What's up, XRP Plumbing? What's up, everyone who came in here late and people that are leaving early? I don't know. Chad's leaving. Look at that. Got to run. Believe it, just leaving, just like that. So, Visual Vendetta was saying that Luna was worth thousands. Running their USDT stablecoin. Wonder what XRP is going to be worth with RLUSD. Exactly. Going to have a lot of things happening here in the near future. So, Chip letting his hair grow back before he comes back. That's it. So I saw Chip yesterday. Want to wish a firm condolence to Chip and his family. So went to his dad's funeral yesterday. And so they did the full color honor guard at the cemetery. Went to the service before that, and so was able to see Chip and his family yesterday, which was again big condolences to Chip and his family for all of that. And Chip will be back with us tomorrow night. So we'll look forward to having Chip back here with us tomorrow night here on the chain. So, all right, we are going to move into Flare. Before we move on over into Flare, it is the bottom of the hour. So do want to get into, and we'll be, playing the video for the NFT for the Yetis. I forgot to pull up, got all these tabs going. I got to pull up the StreamYard giveaway tool. So get ready for that. I'm going to open up the floor again, to everybody today. So even if you won last week, the week before, going to give everybody an opportunity to jump in again, because this is the rigged giveaway. Let's see here. Hang on one second. You guys know the word, and we'll be playing that song here in a minute. We got a couple already that are registered in here. So we'll get that ready to go. So everybody give a quick shout out where you're tuning in from. We do have a nice global audience from coast to coast, country to country, which is great. Our second biggest audience from the US is actually Australia. And then as you kind of migrate through the Asian Pacific, and then you get over into Europe, and then the US, number one. That's it. So, all right, see a bunch of Yetis thrown in here. Got the UK, we've got Florida, man, Laurel over in the Bahamas. And there you go. Gotta love it. Colorado. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Now we'll get an idea where everybody's tuning in from today. I think we got New Zealand in here as well. Right. We got New Zealand. I've seen Australia in here already, but I believe Ray the Musk coming in from New Zealand. And there you go. Jim D's here in real time. Indiana, Puerto Rico, Homestead. There you go. Got XRP Plumbing down in Homestead. To check out XRP Plumbing one day down in Homestead. Up to South Africa. There we go. We have a couple viewers who have popped in from South Africa, so it's great to see you here. There you go. Love it. Love it. Joe, would you say having close to 3,500 XRP is solid? And also, what's a good cold wallet? And that's a good question. So, there's obviously, different options for wallets. I would say, depending on if you're newer to the crypto space, having a solid exchange to work with, like Uphold or Coinbase or Gemini or one of those, is probably a real good way to help and support. If you want to make sure that you are, safely holding your asset. Jim D is saying paper, the best cold wallet. Yeah, I mean, if you put on paper, couple copies, put it in a vault somewhere. Make sure that doesn't get wet, then you don't lose it. My concern with any of the solutions is that you accidentally lose it. You forget your passcodes, you forget your seed codes, all those different things, and then you lose access, or you have trouble gaining access. Again, having instant login to Coinbase, Robinhood, Uphold. Robinhood, not bad either. You know, I mean, use the solution that you're comfortable using. That's what I would say. You know, and make sure that it's reputable. Like Robinhood, you know, they're a pretty big player in the industry. I had asset on Robinhood. I still have some asset with Robinhood. They were going through a turmoil period at one point. I think they got through that. I trust a good option. Soon we're going to start seeing we're going to see the rollout of XRP ETFs. We have Bitcoin ETF. So once you get to that point with an XRP ETF, go to Fidelity, go to wherever you can get, you know, an ETF. That's a good way to leverage as well. So there's good options, but I don't, you know, I'm not going to advocate for any one specific exchange, but there's different players out there, and the exchanges that I have used, you know, like over time, I've used BitTrue, I've used Binance, can't use either one of those. I've used Gemini, I use Coinbase, I've used Robinhood, I've used a whole bunch of different solutions. Zaman, the Zaman wallet, you can keep XRP over on Zaman on your phone. And I would say also it's a good idea. This is something I learned from my grandmother years ago. My grandmother was always a huge proponent of keeping money in multiple banks. So she was fortunate because of my grandfather's businesses to not have to worry about all of that, but to make sure that, but her lesson was always to leverage and to divide. So, you know, you think about your FDIC coverage in a bank from a cash perspective, don't necessarily exceed that number. But then also, you know, her, based on how she grew up as well, I'm sure had a big impact on it, but put your money in multiple different banks. And that's what she always did. And so, but she went beyond that after she passed away, found out that she also had kept and hoarded lots of cash. So as we went through stuff, guaranteed that as they went through and had the people buying furniture, that people, if they were lucky enough, they would have found wads of cash hidden in their furniture. But we found all sorts of stuff behind picture frames, stacks of hundreds, like behind picture frames, underneath the mattress, you know, hidden behind drawers. I mean, throughout the entire house, just wads of hundreds. I mean, it could be like each stack was easily $1,000 someplace. You know, it was money all over the place. So it went beyond the banks. So that was, it was kind of interesting. So, all right, cool. Let's let me play this. Get your Yetis ready. Get ready to drop a Yeti, but let me roll this one out. Here we go. Song of the day. Here we go.
Are you ready, lads and lasses, to win yourself a badass Yeti? Oh, it's Clan Mentalist, with Skulder bold and free. He drinks his ale, he tells his tale, and fights for you and me.
Get yours, a man, wallet ready, Yeti is the word.
So lift your pint, a toast, a cheer to the Mentalist. To Skulder, we all drink on the chain, your coast. All the super intelligent viewers. And don't forget that this whole thing's rigged on the chain. Badass Yetis, born for battle, made for legend. Claim yours or be forgotten. Badass Yeti is on the chain. Hey! Oh, duddy 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 do. Duddy 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 duddy.
Hope you enjoyed that one. And there you go. That's for the drawing. All right. Timeouts are not in effect for today. So we're opening it up. So go ahead. No timeouts for today, which is good. Want to make sure we get as many people in as possible, get everybody an opportunity for the Badass Yeti. And the Badass Yeti we're giving away today is Skulder number 395 of the Mentalist, which is, I like this guy. I like the Mentalist a lot. I've always liked the mentalists. Think they're pretty awesome. I love just every aspect of it. These guys don't carry weapons because they destroy your brain. But anyhow, these are this guy is Scolder. Scolder. There he is right there. Of the clan mentalist from the Blue Tribe. Well, still waiting for Yeti Moonshine. That's right, man. If we can get like a Yeti whiskey or a Yeti bourbon, we got the Yeti coffee, Badass Yeti coffee, soon to be Badassery. We're branding Badassery, so everything can fall under the Badassery. So that way, with the Badass Yetis, still need to launch our Badass Chimps. Trying to get the Badass Yetis done here. We have 2 more within the Badass Yeti tribes. We still have the purple tribe and the black tribe, and with the Badass Chimps have been done, and we just need to get everything rolling over there on the XRPL. Kind of excited about that. Putting everything under Badassery. New website was being built for Badassery. Badassery coffee, and it's all badass. That's it. Some Badassery shirts too, which will be nice. Looking forward to the Badassery. All right, let's go into Flare. I want to talk about Flare a little bit because we've been talking about Flare. And I think that, as we look at Ripple, and there's been so much hyper focus on where Ripple has been going, and we've talked a little bit about some of the news drops from Flare, and we get into all of that. There's so much more that's happening. I think if we look at Ripple from an institutional perspective, Flare is moving in a similar direction, and yet Flare is also going cross chain. They're bringing a lot of different component into it. So let's just go through some of the key things that have been put up right here. So Jim D said Flare was all the rage a few years ago. Then it felt it was all the rage. The biggest misstep with Flare, and we said this years ago, to me, was the way the airdrop was done, and that's where they, and our whole point, Jim, was that Flare had to focus on your company, focus on your build out. Community is important, but your company is more important to you than community excitement at this moment in time. Flare wasn't ready. They're just like Ripple is out there building to institutions. Flare isn't and wasn't a retail based solution yet. Right. And now we're starting to see, okay, you need to go out B2B, you have to go institution, you have to go to smart contracts. There's all these things that Flare was building for. Yes, the community is important. You're going after XRP and Doge. That's great. Mention it, do the hype, get out there, do some podcasts. You want to do an airdrop, just do an airdrop and forget about it. Right. But they were so focused on, on the community, and then the way they broke it down, and the community got pissed. Right. And that was the biggest problem, because they went first and foremost, they did the airdrop, and then they're like, no, we're going to break it up over the next 36 months or whatever. Now we're at that 36-month point. Everyone's like, oh, it's ending. 3 years ago, everyone said, I can't even think 3 years into the future for my airdrops. I want all my airdrop now. I don't want to wait 3 years to get it. Now we're at that 3-year point. That's how fast time flies. But then the whole Songbird thing, and then to come out and try to explain it and describe it. And that it was just that people were getting something free and got pissy over a free airdrop. That to me was the craziest point. And Chip and I had said also, it was all on how they instituted and implemented that airdrop. And I said, as soon as you give out freebies like that, you're gonna get some bad publicity kickback. The sand's gonna be kicked up in your face if you don't do it exactly the way people expect it to be. And most of the community just wanted fast result. They're like, give me my airdrop and I want to see immediate return from it. And then if you pull it back, or the way they came out with the Songbird, and everyone got confused with what Songbird was, now they're flip-flopping, and the whole Songbird concept made a hell of a lot of sense, because they had to test all their solutions, and to be able to test them with real potential, quote unquote, real time, and having larger, larger groups out there that were utilizing and testing was great. It was amazing. Flare is on the forefront of technology, and I'm glad that everybody's seeing it too. So Greg saying the monthly airdrop was a smart move. Right. That's the other point. I like the idea that they broke it down and they split up over a longer period of time. And I think about all the things that happen. Right, the exchanges got all the flare, but even like with Celsius, right? I had XRP over on Celsius at that point. I got zero flare drop for that, like zero, right? And so that was crazy. So like a large percentage of airdrop that I should have got, I never got because it was on the wrong platform that crashed and burned. And fortunately, I'd moved my XRP off of that platform to another, but I also had it on other platforms. So I was able to get good flare drop through those. But if you had it on the wrong, it was a disaster, at that point. But yeah, I like that too. Definitely, definitely important. And Flare is making it up for now, and it does. The potential is just phenomenal, right? And so that's why we want to keep discussing where they're going. Ripple, great, they are on the forefront of utilizing the XRPL, but Flare went from this small kind of unrecognized to where are they going? These guys are gaining momentum like crazy right now, and they're doing things that nobody else is doing. It's like untapped the direction that these guys are going in, and Hugo really has led the market really well. And one of the things that we said, like with the airdrop, some of the things they did early on in early stages, I think Chip and I called it out 100% accurately back then. And a big part of the airdrops and the community, we chalked it up to being young in this space, So I said, back then, they were young, they were kind of an immature corporation at the time, trying to figure it out, trying to do things that were more like community friendly at that point. And those were some of their missteps, was because they were young in entrepreneurship in the in the market. And so there were some missteps, and their missteps became publicly viewable mainly because of the fact that they were doing the airdrop. So, but anyhow, we move on. And we look at the direction that they're moving. Here's MoreMarkets chooses Flare to power the future XRP yield. Flare is teaming up with MoreMarkets to launch the XRP Earn account, a new secure way for XRP holders to earn yield. This integration enables MoreMarkets on-chain yield generation strategy on the Flare market, creating a seamless XRP Fi experience that is intuitive and fully on-chain. So here's the MoreMarket Earn account. This was just dropped about a week ago. XRP holders can soon earn secure and on-chain yield without navigating the complexities of multiple blockchain bridges or smart contracts. A user directly initiates the XRP bridging process from their own XRPL wallet through a dedicated feature on MoreMarkets. This is what it's all about, just simplicity. Let's go simple for mainstream adoption. Make things as easy as possible. Get rid of all the complexities. Get rid of all the technology. Get rid of all the tech in the forefront. Make it super UI beautiful. There's like, I just want to go onto the platform. I want it to be Fisher Price simple. I just want big buttons. I want it to be very obvious, and I want to make it a seamless experience, just an intuitive experience for the user. If you go in, you're like, well, first you got to go open your wallet over here. Then you got to go buy your XRP over here. Then you got to move your XRP from here to this wallet. Then once you get on this wallet, you have to go in and you have to connect your wallet over here. And when you bridge it, it's going to convert your XRP into a wrapped XRP. And then you're going to have to move your wrapped XRP over to this platform. Then you have to move it over here. Then you have to create the smart contract. Then you're going to have to create the bridge. That's how it was, right? And they're like, oh yeah, everybody's going to be able to do this. This is going to be mainstream friendly. And then you start navigating this process. You can't explain any of that to anybody. It's impossible. There's no way you would ever get mainstream adoption with this. Now, if you say, hey, take your Zaman wallet, connect it over here, go to your xrp.cafe, click the button in the right corner, connect your Zaman wallet, do it through a QR code, boom, you're logged in. Now that you're logged in, you can accept your transfer of your NFTs. That's simple, right? That's the way it needs to be done. Just super simple. If you try to, navigate through the Zaman wallet and go even through that, say, okay, how do I find things? How do I get to my stuff? It could be complex. We want simple, right, Ray One? It's crazy, right? I want it Fisher Price simple. That's it. And so that's kind of where they're getting to. They're making it so easy. Look, the feature facilitates a payment from the user's XRP wallet to the FAsset system, Flare's native bridge to initiate minting of XRP. From there, the MoreMarket platform automatically manages a series of DeFi strategies on Flare, such as lending or liquid staking FXRP with Firelight to generate real yield. All of this happens. This is the key. This is how I know Flare, these guys are so far ahead of everybody else. They get it, right? They're totally finally like right on track getting, what they want to do and what the MoreMarkets wants to do. And, how these, the concepts of these different entities are coming together to make it, seamless. And this is, MoreMarkets. All this happens behind the scenes, ensuring the user's experience is as simple as possible. All earned rewards are automatically converted to XRP and paid out to the user's wallet. This collaboration unlocks new potential for XRP as a programmable asset, providing a straightforward and safe way for everyday users to participate in DeFi. Boom, that's it. If everybody does that, we're crushing it. If only one company does it, they're crushing it, but the market doesn't crush it. So everybody has to get on board with this exact idea. Simplify, simplify, simplify. And yes, Fisher Price simple. That's what it has to be. Fisher Price simple. Now, Fisher Price simple can backfire in certain scenarios because then it could look cheap. And you don't want it to look too cheap. You don't want big fat buttons, where it gets too simplistic. Got to still add the little nuance to make it look professional or high end. Make your buttons maybe out of gold or something. I don't know. Flare MoreMarket partnership creates a unique and comprehensive yield solution for XRP. It's very cool. I love the value proposition. On-chain, non-custodial, gives XRP holders a simple way to earn. Really great. Flare mechanics are handled entirely by MoreMarkets. So technology, Flare is the technology. You wrap it with MoreMarkets. MoreMarkets brings in the simplification, but they're identifying the vast solution that Flare is offering to package this all up. So this is really, really cool. Secure bridging, liquid staking, institutional grade DeFi for security and compliance. These are all, key words. Regulatory alignment, secure and transparent. I can't say enough for transparency. Security is great. Regulatory alignment. Obviously, you need regulatory alignment. We're waiting on clear regulatory alignment here in the US. Have to have, regulatory alignment. You have to have transparency. Transparency is king. Right now, if you go do a bank wire, you have zero transparency. Zero. You process it, it goes, you have no transparency after that. Does it get received? I don't know. I had someone sending me one. They're like, hey, double check. We tried sending to your wire and it didn't go through. It came back to us. I'm like, well, how's that? They're like, send it to us again. I'm like, I'm sending you the same numbers. What do you want me to do? Here's the bank account. Here's a bank wire routing, and here's an ACH routing. You figure out which one you have to use depending on what you're doing. But if you use the wrong one, it's going to kick it back. It's going to tie up your funds for 48 hours plus. You're not going to be able to send it. You have to wait for your money to come back. And then once you get your money back, because it gets locked up during the wire transfer, now it comes kicked back. Now we're a week and a half later, still don't have the money. Why? Because there's zero transparency, there's security, but the transparency aspect, the broken system leads to lack of fund, right? So the liquidity on my end now doesn't exist. I don't have my money. They're still trying to send the money. A week and a half. I mean, how absurd in today's day and time that I have to wait a week and a half to get money, and the system is broken and everybody else is using the same system. Now, if I try to use the snail mail, also broken, right? You can't wait for people to send you checks, and you're going to wait, I don't know, anywhere from a week to like 3 weeks to get a piece of mail in the US. It's so absurd. And this is really cool. These guys, I'm so glad, to see this kind of development and movement and stuff like that. And then as we kind of go through Flare, you look at their products, I was going through, so if we go through like their You can go through their network, go to their website, go check them out, because I really like, everything that's going on. This is the Oracle, right? So if you look at products, the Oracle series, right? High integrity, block latency data feeds. This is all the technology that's going on kind of behind the scenes right now with Flare. Flare Time Series Oracle provides secure, fast, and decentralized data over on Flare. You got 90 registered data providers, 62 live feeds, 38.8 billion or $970 million in Flare staked. Average block time 1.8 seconds. Right. Flare Time Series Oracle is an enshrined oracle that provides decentralized data feeds to Flare. I mean, very, very cool. Look at this. It just moves fast, right? Very, very fast technology. That's what we need, right? So obviously the XRPL fast, but you need to also then have companies that are out there building outside of and having their technology and understanding the dynamics of the technology. So here's the Flare data connector over here. Secure, reliable data from anywhere. I love this concept. This is why I love Flare. I think Flare has been on it, right from the beginning. Smart contracts. They also want to integrate cross-chain dynamic, bringing in like Dogecoin and XRP and Bitcoin. And once you go cross-chain, that's the name. That's the name of the game. Cross-chain. I don't want to be centric to any one platform because there's multiple platforms out there. There's multiple technologies out there. Is there a use case and is there a purpose for one chain? There is. So like Ripple is building a solution to help streamline movement of money between institutions. We went through that. You don't necessarily need to be on multiple chains because you're talking about everyone incorporating into Ripple, right? Into the Ripple solution. It's a RippleNet, which is backbone on XRPL, utilizing a stable coin that's the RLUSD. So their technology and solution is using a similar platform, but they're also cross-chained, right? Thinking about with RLUSD incorporating into Ethereum. So they get it. They understand the need for cross-chain as well. And so as they start piecing everything together, we're going to see more dynamic of cross-chain. Who was the first talking about smart chain or cross-chain? That was Flare, right? So Flare Data Connector brings reliable, secure, and verified data from other blockchains and the internet to power smart contracts. So they're focused on smart contracts, whereas Ripple focused primarily on movement of money and the seamless transaction thereof. And then, Flare definitely, making some interesting movement here. Flare, XRP, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum. I want to see a point where, right now we reviewed the one use case, which was MoreMarkets. Want to see more institution utility and development and see exactly where they go with Flare. The technology is being built, the concept is sound. Now we have to see real use, real time build out of the technology with big institution. That's what we're gonna have to see. So here's the FAssets. Securely explore XRP Fi, Bitcoin Fi, and Doge Fi. Right, bridge, trade, lend, and stake for greater liquidity in one DeFi hub. There you go. One hub, one platform. Make it Fisher Price simple, just so, when we go in, it's like, okay, I'm building my smart contract, click, click, click. I want to trade, I want to bridge, I want to lend, I want to stake, super simple. I want to create a smart contract that's going across these multiple different chains. Simple, and maybe, from an independent user, you won't be able to do it so simple. You need another company that comes along, wraps their UI technology around the Flare, kind of like MoreMarkets, says, okay, I want to simplify the utility of these platforms. I'm going to create a solution for smart contract, and you're going to be able to just drag and pull your smart contract and kind of build it and set it up, or they'll have preset contract already, utilizing different chains. Which chains are you using your smart contract? XRPL, or hey, I'm going to use XRPL, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. I want those three. Okay, boom, it creates it for you. Now you put in the players, put in your concept, you just build out super simple. Now your smart contract's complete. Smart contract is the future of business. I don't care, however we look at it. I want to simplify business process through smart contract. Right now, it's so complex, from from shipping regulation to receiving to the custody to, if you have to put your money in escrow for a big transaction. And then if we go like independent transaction, kind of like small business, just domestic, you still have some issue, trust, and there's all these different things that just are not happening, right now within business, that, it's going to be so great. That's the future that I see. Right now, investing in some of the asset, exciting. It's fun. We've seen the development. We've been at the forefront of the technology. We've been doing all this stuff. We have good behind the scenes kind of looking at what's happening from a development perspective. And now, we're getting ready to move into the direction that we have to go into. Banks are adopting. The banks have to adopt. People in general, they want a bank. They want to have reliability. They want trust. They don't trust online. They don't trust, a lot of the solution. It's going to be brick and mortar, even though people are more accustomed to banking online. They still want to know it's brick and mortar to a sense. Even Capital One, that was strictly like an online bank, decided at some point, or started rolling out brick and mortars all over the place. So they came up with the brick and mortar cafe, and their banking is different when you walk in a Capital One cafe. People want that level of trust. Like Coinbase, people still don't trust it. Gemini, people don't trust it. People are still trying to figure out, where do I put my XRP? That was who was asking that? Was Greg, Orton earlier. Greg was asking, like, where should I put my XRP? I've got it on Robinhood. Can I trust Robinhood? Is that a good place for it? Like, people don't know. But if you said, hey, Chase Bank, is that a good place for me to put? No one would even ask twice if Chase was the right place to put their crypto, right? People don't ask, hey, is Chase safe for my money? People don't ask that question. People don't say, is Capital One, Bank of America, any of these banks? No, because they're institutions, brick and mortar, that people have gotten used to. Now, if Coinbase started opening up, let's say Coinbase opened up a bank next to Bank of America, and all of a sudden there's Coinbase banks opening up all over the country, people would be like, hey, I bank with Coinbase, or I bank with whomever, or Coinbase is going to buy Bank of America, let's say, or Bank of America buys Coinbase, or whatever it might be. Things are going to change drastically. We're going to see that type of scale in the near future. That could be 5 years plus, but near future, all things considered, things are definitely changing, which is really good. It has to happen, definitely has to happen, which is going to be good. Yeah, Mike says is using the Ledger Nano. Yep. So get a couple ledgers, which is also important. Things are changing. Things are moving from where it was kind of playing around with it to where we're going. Where we're going is becoming serious business now, and it can't be kind of an anarchist kind of DeFi environment. That just isn't necessarily 100% reality yet. Or maybe never will be, just because from a trust perspective, people still want the centralized component to the trust of where they put their money. Now, if there's enough of us out there, but yet even with all the people invested in crypto, I think there's enough lessons to learn from that. If you're 100% reliant on yourself and technology, it's going to burn you in the ass. You're going to get burned. And so many people, there's so many cases out there where people have lost huge amounts of money because of the fact that there wasn't a centralized entity that they could go to and pick up the phone and say, hey, help me out here. I can't gain access to my asset. I've lost $100 million in asset because I lost my seed code and I'm done. Right. The idea that one individual, you have to be 100% responsible with no way to get your money out, is super, super problematic. Right. So if, let's say we're using a Ledger Nano, if you lose your ledger, you can go buy another one. You can plug it in and you can log in, and you could be all set, as long as you have your seed phrase. You lose your seed phrase, you're fucked. that's it. You're done. You're not getting your money out. If you have a centralized component where you say, hey, I need your help, can you somehow go in the back end to get me my money and get me logged in? Then, then that's kind of a component to it. And so that's where going to the exchanges to me is, from a mainstream perspective, that's what people are comfortable with. That's what the majority of the people want. That's what the majority of the people need. The majority of people don't even understand how to buy stock. How do you expect them to be self-reliant on their own banking? Will never happen. I don't see it ever happening in our near future history, maybe 100 years from now, in some utopia, utilitarian, society, where somehow people are self-reliant. But even then, I don't believe it. I don't believe that in any point in our near future, over the next course of 100 years, people are going to be 100% self-reliant on keeping their own asset. I don't think it's going to ever happen. There's always going to be a centralized control mechanism. People will try to store, but even like with the Web3, there's going to be, whether it's AI, I don't care what it is, computerized, you take out all the people, you can take out every human being from it. There's still going to be a centralized component that will help you figure out and how to navigate, whether it's AI or what have you. There's going to be something in place. And the more we get into the ones and zeros of it, the more we get into the AI and the Web3 of it, then you also have more oversight. You have more potential for control mechanism. You have more potential for programmability. There's the good and the bad, right? So there's the good and the bad with the centralized system as we have it now. There was the good and the bad with the fiat system as we had it, and putting fiat in banks and knowing that the banks don't have 100% of your fiat. Obviously a problem with that. But at the same time, if I take my fiat out and I go and buy something with cash, there's zero traceable record of my cash purchase. Now, if I do the same thing with RLUSD, is there something recording and monitoring my purchase with a stable coin? If I go to wherever, if I go to XRP Plumbing and he's selling a car and I go buy that car from him and I transfer money to him via my RLUSD account, is there a traceable record that I now bought that car from XRP Plumbing? But if I went and said, hey, here's 5,000 cash, I'm buying your car, other than me having to register the vehicle, but there would be no specific record from the cash transaction side of it. Obviously, he has to sign title over and do all those things. Now, imagine if I could go and say, hey, XRP Plumbing, here's the cash, and he can go online and click a button and the registration gets transferred to me, because all that back end stuff is on the blockchain. Here, I'm putting the registration name here, put your thumbprint here, boom, thumbprint scan, all right, QR code scan with my Zaman wallet, boom, NFT transferred. He sends me the NFT of his title. I've got the title. It then registers it with the DMV, and everything is moved and completed. Just like that. There has to be some sign off at the DMV of acceptance, whether maybe that's through AI. They can double check and reference everything. It's through, going to be recorded. I mean, it could be super, super impressive, right? From that side of it. Buying a house, you can do less than 2 hours, just complete everything, right? There has to be that. There's going to be a centralized component that it has to flow through to do a double check audit of it to make sure that, hey, I'm not stealing the house from this person. There's some level of safety check across the board, but things are going to happen, good and bad. Are we going to lose privacy? That's the biggest concern with everything. So, man, we talked a lot about all of this stuff. Really cool. So Fred is saying at some point this space will work like Amazon with all protection. That's it. What else do we need? It's like you think about what you can purchase on Amazon and be like, should I buy this? Is it going to be any good? Well, if I can get it shipped to your house, and then check it out. And if it's not good, what's the return policy? Oh, I have 30 days to return it, and you get it. You're like, no, this really sucks. And I'm sending it back. That's really, really great. More Monkey said all the best coins will end up on the S&P 500. That's the direction. I think there'll be a separate exchange. It'll be called something else for the assets, kind of like FX. There's going to be specifically a crypto component on to Main Street, because the Main Street really they really need it. The world is a business. That's all it is. Doesn't matter the politics of it, the violence of it. Everything is a business transaction. Exactly. Uh, Jim D said I could really use an AI bot bidding buying service for a new car. Exact. So imagine you can go to your agent, your ChatGPT agent, be like, I want to buy this car. Here's the parameters of what I'm looking for. Here's what you need to research. Okay, bot. I want you to go back into Kelly's Blue Book. I want you to look up the the VIN number. I want you to do search on the VIN number, look through every record. If you have to buy to get release of the record, here's my credit card. I want you to go in, register, get full details, go through it, make sure the car is in pristine condition, doesn't have previous accidents, blah, 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 whatever. Make sure that they have clear title. If they have clear title, here's the value. If the car's in X condition, X miles, X whatever, doesn't have full service records on it. Okay, here's my bid process. Here's how high I'm willing to go buy my car. Go look at it from a national perspective. Look for every Ford, whatever that's out there, and go, find within my criteria. Dude, Jim, that would be amazing, and it would totally avoid all of that. Or, hey, I'm looking for a new car. I want you to go scour the internet, find the one, and make the phone call. Call their number. I want you to call in and have a conversation and find me. I want a brand new 2025 GMC Yukon, and I want you to find me the best deal. Don't care what color it is. Don't care what kind of wheels it is. These are the features exactly that I want. Make the call, get the best deal, and then send me, the top 3 for me to call. Boom, done. They do all the phone calls. They do everything. Dig in, drill down. It would be awesome. Awesome stuff. Yep. I love it. So, and then buy it on the Gemini XRP card, so you get XRP back to boot. So we'll probably need, will we need digital IDs? That's a good question too. How are they going to digitize our IDs and verify our identity? Well, they're doing it already through the Zaman. So, all right, let's, it's about that time. We have, man, I had so many other things stacked up, and I realized my phone was charging on that side. So I'm going to have to go get my, I have to go find my, my phone. But in the meantime, let's go through this. I thought this was a cool video. You guys might appreciate it. I think we're losing a few people here. They're like, man, gone over an hour talking about stuff, and got to get back into some cool stuff. I don't know if you guys saw this. Let me see if I can pull this up. Did you guys see the narco terrorist boat getting blown up? It's our new tactic here for tracking down stuff. Let me put this up here real quick. I don't know if you guys saw this. Did you guys see this? Look at this. I don't know if you guys saw this. Look at this, the drug running. Look at those engines. Man, 4 engines on the back of that boat. That thing's hauling ass. All right, they're tracking it. Boom. Look at that. Done. Imagine, it's great. It's just so great. That's exactly how we handle terrorists. It doesn't matter where they are in the region, Yeah, I don't know what was on the boat, Jim. I don't know what they're going after. I don't know what they're targeting, but whatever it is. International waters, but that's okay. Yeah, I think there's people in there. Believe there's people in there. I'm going to take it at face value that that it is what it is. The point being, if it is what it is, and we're taking the fight to them, doesn't matter, international waters. I don't care. They're coming to our country. If they have the track record, a terrorist, if they're tracking terrorists around the world, I don't care where they take them out. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter if it's international waters. I don't care if they're in country. It doesn't matter what part of the world they're in. You go after them. You take them out. That's just the war. Take it right to wherever they're at. That's how you take out terrorists. Now, if they're drug runners, whatever, if they're labeled terrorists, they're labeled terrorists. However they take them down. We don't have a clear image. You can see, multiple people in that boat, and it's done. So that's it. Your trusting design has hijacked the United States. No, I don't agree with that. I think that you're 100% off course. I don't know why you bring Israel into everything. The U.S. has its own government, has its own influence, has its own impact, has its own media, has its own propaganda, has its own politics. There's zero connection. There's zero control coming from Israel to the U.S. I will never, ever believe or agree with that. And it's just a fact on the ground. The U.S. is the U.S., and the U.S. dictates as the sole hegemonic power of the world. Doesn't need to be regulated or controlled by somebody else. And APAC does not have anything. They don't run the U.S. They don't run the politicians. It's one small lobby group that operates on, by U.S. Americans that, run or operate a PAC to gain support for Israel, just like there's a whole bunch of other PACs that support all these other countries. It's a public affair committee. It's a PAC. There's lots of PACs, and there's lots of lobbyists in Washington. You're just singling out the one PAC because they're supporting Israel. That's it. And they're supporting cause to say, hey, here's why you need to continue to support Israel. APAC has zero control over U.S. policy from outside of all of that. That's just too much. So they might maybe it might have been they didn't pay their tariffs. They're trying to circumvent tariffs. That's a possibility. Could you imagine though? If now we're looking at, dude, it's crazy. You think about the amount of tariff. Now, the one thing I have to say is that are tariffs having an impact on business? Tariffs are. I'm definitely 100% seeing the impact on our business. And that's problematic. Are the tariffs at the end of the day? Is it a game? Are the tariffs working to really control what's happening, like from a trade negotiation perspective? But I'm looking at some of the product that we work with comes out of Switzerland. Switzerland right now has a 39% tariff. They started with a 15%. Now it's 39%. Guess where the cost of goods is being transferred? Our cost of goods are going up, 39% from the product we get from Switzerland. I get something out of Germany. Our product cost went up by 10, 15%. And then, the conversation is that, there's going to be some shared expense on that. But 39% out of Switzerland, 15% out of Germany. We have some stuff that's manufactured over in China. They actually haven't even changed the price point on what's coming out of China, which is shocking. So I don't see any increase. That just tells me that their profit margin and their cost of production is really, really low. And their margins were already really big, all things considered. And so, have to navigate what that looks like. But they had a huge increase in tariff. And I go country by country. There's, some other product that is coming in. But for the most part, like our two bigger ones, 15% and 39%. The Swiss tariff, that was the biggest surprise at 39%. And it increased a little bit at this point because there was already inventory in the U.S. So now as we get past that threshold of existing inventory to new inventory with the new tariff, I'm not sure how that plays out exactly. So the question and what we had to negotiate with the manufacturer is basically, hey, if you're going to increase, you're increasing on your cost of import, not our cost of wholesale cost. We shouldn't have to pay vendor cost at an increase based on my previous cost. It should be on your cost of import. And if you're going to increase and it's 15%, we'll share it 7.5% each. if it's 40% or 39%, it'll be a 20% increase, but based on their cost, not ours, which is just way too much, So, all right, let me, I got to go get my phone, which is sitting on the other side of the room here. Let me see. I don't want to just have a blank screen here. So give me a minute. Let's play this one more time, and then I can go out and get it. I'll be right back.
Are you ready, lads and lasses, to win yourself a badass Yeti? Oh, it's Clan Mentalist, with Skulder bold and free. He drinks his ale, he tells his tale, and fights for you and me.
Get yours, a man, wallet ready. Yeti is the word.
So lift your pint, a toast, a cheer to the Mentalist. To Skulder, we all drink on the chain, your coast. All the super intelligent viewers. And don't forget that this whole thing's rigged on the chain. Badass Yetis, born for battle, made for legend. Claim yours or be forgotten. Badass Yeti is on the chain. Hey! Oh, duddy 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 do. Duddy 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 duddy.
All right. We're back. Duddy, 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 do. There you go. I like that, Zober. Invest in yourself. No one else will. That's 100% correct. Nobody else is going to invest in you. That's why you got to invest in yourself. Got to make sure that you invest in your knowledge. Means that you got to do your own research. That means that you got to make sure that you're looking out, and keep learning, keep studying, keep reading, and don't just read. Don't just watch. Get out there and do that. That's all I can tell you. You got to get out in front and see what's going on in the world. You got to go meet with groups or go see them face to face. Go experience it face to face, because that to me is really massive. That is really, really impactful when you get to experience it. So, all right, how many Yetis do we have in the drawing right now? 14 Yetis. I'm really surprised that we only have 14, but we're going to roll with that. We're going to get this going. It is getting a little bit late. So between that and some Yeti suds, that's right. And I think this giveaway might be a little bit rigged. So we're going to find out. We're going to roll this here in 1 second. Let me share the screen. And then once we get this shared here, waiting for my phone to turn back on. My phone died like right before I thought it was charging overnight, and it wasn't even plugged in. So there you have it. That's how it rolls. If you don't plug your phone in, apparently it doesn't charge. So, all right, where are we at here? Here we go. I need nope. There we go. All right, let's roll this. Let's see who the winner is going to be today. More monkey business. Now the question is, more monkey business. If you're still here, more monkey business. More monkey business. I saw you earlier. You were commenting earlier. Are you still logged in? Are you still doing your thing? Are you there? More monkey business. Yeah, dead phone is a great paperweight. You know what it was? I sat down and I opened it up. I'm like, oh shit, 2%. 2% goes to zero very, very quickly. So, it didn't last very long. It was very quick. All right, more monkey business. Going once. Going twice. Crypto up good in monkey business. All right. Unfortunately, more monkey business might have already left. More monkey business isn't here. So you know what that means? We got to roll again. And we're going to roll again right now. So we've got 194 people watching between YouTube and X. YouTube dropping like flies. I don't know what's going on, but we're about to draw again because I don't see more monkey business. You know what? I'm going to open up, which should have opened up on YouTube here. You know what? I'm going to open up, mute the volume. Let me open up over here just in case I'm missing it in the live chat, which I'm not. I see no monkey business. So you guys know what that means. We get to roll again. We're going to draw it again. No monkeying around. Meditations. Is meditation still here? I saw meditations pop in earlier. Meditations is still here. As of 4 minutes ago, meditations looks like you're the big winner of the day. You got to make sure you let us know that you're here and get ready to drop your Zaman wallet into the chat. We can get you all set up here with the Badass Yeti holder. Come on, where are you at? Hopefully you're here. Meditation. Uh-oh. Meditations isn't here. Where is meditation? We might have to roll again, but meditations was here like 2 minutes ago. So if meditations was commenting like 2 minutes ago, hopefully meditations is still here. Oh, I gotta get my giveaway screen, and then we will. Let me shut this music off in the background here. There we go. All right, meditations. If meditations isn't here, then you know what we need to do. How do you register? Just type in Yeti, and as long as you have a Zaman wallet, if you have a Zaman wallet, you're gonna drop as soon as you win. You basically drop in your Zaman wallet address. Once you win, super simple. You already registered. You typed in Yeti. You're now registered since it looks like meditations left already. So what happens if we drag this out too late? Then people leave. They're like, oh, I'm not going to win anyways. So here we go. I'm going to roll it again. You know what? Let me hit a refresh. No, I can't hit a refresh. I'm just going to draw again. All right, here we go. Yeti. Type in Yeti. Reborn John, type in regular Yeti. Just type it in real quick because we're about to. Oh, you have been. All right. So I'm looking here. I just want to double check the meditations. Didn't say anything. I don't see anything in the live chat. All right, here we go. Getting ready to roll one more time. Come on, guys. Come on. Time to win. A badass Yeti. Oh, shit. I forgot to share my screen. Crypto Whelp just won, and that wasn't rigged. I thought I was sharing my screen, but here you go. The winner, Crypto Whelp. Crypto Whelp hasn't won in a long time, and I'm sure it was definitely rigged. 100% rigged. Being I wasn't sharing it, but I got to watch the excitement. I watched all the excitement. But Crypto Yelp, what's crazy is Crypto Yelp has like been he'll forecast ahead of time. Throw in that Zaman wallet. There it is again. Zaman walleted up. So Crypto Yelp. Whelp. Crypto Yeti. There you go. There you have it. The Yetis don't want to leave their home. I'll tell you what, Yetis definitely want to make sure they're staying put. So Crypto Whelp. Let me type you into the spreadsheet here. We keep track of all of it just so we know who won, who didn't win, who got the excitement. Now, Badass Yeti number 395 of the Blue Tribe from the clan Mentalist. Today is September 6th. Document that. I can't believe it's September. It's almost January. Crypto Whelp. Do me a favor. Throw in Charles. Charles didn't win, so it was 100% rigged, unfortunately. But crypto wealth, throw in your X, right? Check. 100% rigged, but check. Is Flatliner? You might have, but I need your X, your X handle. I don't even see you here, honestly. Flatliner. It's been a long. There's Reborn John. Man, everyone's got a chance. Everybody. There he is, Crypto Whelp. Damn, it's a long time ago. I need your X handle that I do not have for some reason. So throw in your X handle into the chat. There it is, at Crypto Whelp. Sweet. All right. Let me get that in here and let me transfer this to you, and then we'll all go our separate ways and have an amazing weekend. But I'm going to transfer this bad boy over to you in one split second. Let me grab your Zaman wallet address. I'm going to put your Zaman wallet address in here, and we're going to quickly transfer this bad boy over to you. So going to let me open up the Zaman wallet. This is how fast it is. It takes me longer to thumbprint open the Zaman wallet and get everything set up. Now there's an update. It wants me to update. I can't do that right now, but this is how fast. Now I'm going to scan. Once I scan it, I will accept on my end. So let me slide to accept that I'm transferring this bad boy over to you. Thumbprint, accept on this side. There you go. Now it's been submitted. And just like that, transferred. I didn't even get a chance to show you that it was successfully transferred. But Crypto Wealth is now the proud owner of Badass Yeti 395. And with that, have a great weekend, everybody that's still here with us. All one of you that are still logged in, Crypto Wealth. That's it. And that's how we go. So we will check you guys out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only right here on the Chain Global Podcast. I'll check you guys out on the next one, if I can even find where our outro is. There we go. Jeff, out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.